everybody, and welcome back to another Board Game Breakfast. Well, February is coming to a close. We are about to jump into the year as a whole. In a sense, it always feels like March is the beginning of the board game year, and that's because the Gamma Trade Show is coming. Although before the Gamma Trade Show, in a couple weeks, I'll be at PAX up in Boston. So if you are at the PAX convention, I am there on a panel where I'll be talking with some other folks about media creation. I'm also running a Wits and Wagers game there. And for the rest of the time, just kind of scouting out. We're thinking about coming to PAX conventions in the future as a Dice Tower. And so we're just checking that out. If you're in the area, I would sure love to say hi to you because this is one of my least scheduled things going there. Of course, we're going to go into major scheduling. Then right after that into the Gamma Week. Now, we just finished up our second marathon, our Live 24 marathon. I thought it went pretty well. We're going to be cutting up some of the videos from that and posting them as the weeks go by so you can see just very specific games. If you want to watch the games, I recommend watching Shadows over Camelot. That was a pretty funny game. I'm not going to be doing a live Q&A today. Instead, I've postponed that till Thursday, where you will see not just me doing the Q&A, but also Sam and Z. So look forward to that. Other than that, just kind of a regular week. A lot of great videos coming your way, I hope. Anyway, it's time to get to the news. So what's in the news? Okay, first of all, Cryptozoic has announced many different things, including some new Rick and Morty games. They're really pumping out the stuff from that license. The one I found interesting was Anatomy Park, where you are basically building an amusement park inside the body of a dead Santa, I think. Anyway, then also some more stuff for their DC deck building game. But interestingly enough, they're taking the DC license and applying it to Spyfall. Well, that'd be kind of intriguing. I mean, honestly, you would think the Spyfall game would be ripe for just license after license after license after license, right? Well, finally, we're seeing the first one, which is DC. I'm still waiting for the historical Spyfall that was mentioned at one point. Z-Man has announced Bastion. This is a tower defense style game, originally from Hobby World. And if you remember, I reviewed this one about a year ago in 2016. I enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of a game that didn't look like that fantastic, but played very well. Games Workshop has announced Warhammer Quest Shadows over Hammerhall. This is a standalone / expansion for Warhammer Quest, so if you like that, you'll have more of it coming your way. Fantasy Flight Games has announced another expansion for Eldritch Horror. And again, I'm pretending to be surprised, but there it is, Cities in Ruin. Now, this one actually is interesting because this one's about destruction, earthquakes and hurricanes and tornadoes and fires and things. Okay, that's intriguing. I want to see, maybe will cities be able to be shut down? We'll find out. Let's see. Gale Force 9 has said that they're coming out with Firefly Adventures. This is like a game we have miniatures moving around and going through adventures. That sounds to be very fun, Firefly universe type thing. So I'm hoping that's a really cool game. And they also have been talking about Star Trek Ascendancy. You know, we've been waiting for a while for the next two expansions for it, which I believe are the Ferengi and the Kardashians. But Borg is coming. So there you go. Time Stories. You know, it's been a while we've been waiting for an expansion. Finally, Expedition Endurance has finally come out, but they've announced the next three are going to be about knights, Hollywood, and pirates in that order. So yay, more Time Stories. Bezier Games has announced Whistle Stop. This game is coming out at Gen Con. It is a train game, and it has kind of a nice, cool, cute look to it, I guess. I'm curious to see what they're going to do in the train genre, because that is a very crowded genre. Red Raven Games is going to be kickstarting soon. Empires of the Void 2. Empires of the Void was the game that put Red Raven on the map to some degree. It was their first game, so it'll be fun to see what the second edition of that looks like. And then finally, and you might want to skip to Suzanne's segment, minor spoilers here, but we learned a little bit more about Pandemic Legacy 2. They showed it off. It's coming out this year. We know that. There's going to be a black and a yellow box, but from the back of the box, I don't think this is spoiler material, but if you don't want to know anything, move on. But from the back of the box, it looks like this takes place 70 years after the first game. It almost looks post-apocalyptic in nature to some degree. And not all the world is explored at the beginning of the game, and you will be exploring and finding the world. I'm very pumped about this one. I hope it's as good as it sounds. So, all right. Well, that's the regular news. It's time for Kickstarter and Indiegogo and every other crowdfunding website, of which there is like very few of them, news.
Happy breakfast, everybody! The crowdfunding busyness for games continues, so let's get going. The Last Garden is set in a post-apocalyptic world where there is only one human remaining, who is known as the Queen. She's reprogrammed robots to help recreate the lush gardens of her youth by assembling machinery and gems. The Last Garden is primarily a worker placement game. Each round you'll use cards to manipulate the garden by adding or moving gems or changing the sector numbers. Then you'll place a robotanist to gain favor cogs. Maybe you'll go for a sector with a lot of gems or to the mines which have a majority element to them. The lab will give you one-time use abilities, and you always keep an eye out for wilt because if a sector gets too many gems, it gets drained before the round scores. The Last Garden features thematic art by Beth Sowell and takes a pledge of $35 plus shipping. Champions of Midgard has an expansion coming, and you can back it on Kickstarter. Champions of Midgard made a splash as a Viking-themed dice worker placement game. It's highly rated and well-regarded among gamers. This campaign actually includes 2 expansions. With the Dark Mountains expansion, you'll fight a new enemy, the Mountain Giants, and ally with archers. It also enables you to add a 5th player. The Valhalla expansion adds favor that you can gain when your warriors die in battle. Valkyries will bestow abilities, and your fallen warriors may even return from the grave to battle monsters. You can get just one of the expansions if you choose, but if you get both at a slight discount, at the Jarl pledge level, you'll also get a new box insert that will allow everything from the base game and both expansions to fit into one box. The Dark Mountains is a $20 pledge, the Valkyrie takes a $24 pledge, and you can get the Jarl level that includes both expansions and that insert for a pledge of $40 plus shipping. In Food Truck Champion, you're trying to make a name for yourself as the best and brightest food truck operator. Hire staff, get ingredients, cook food, and make those customers happy to earn popularity. Inspired by Glory to Rome, Food Truck Champion uses multi-use cards that can be played as staff, an ingredient, or an order. Manage your hand of cards and card actions and get that game flow going as cards move from marketplace to fridge, fridge to order, and orders to your customers. You can get bonus points by fulfilling your truck's flavor profile or matching signature dish ingredients. You can get a copy of Food Truck Champion for just $20 plus shipping, or for $24 plus shipping, you'll also get the exclusive Helpers Mini expansion. The Terminator has an officially licensed board game on Kickstarter right now. This is an asymmetrical game in which one player controls Skynet and machines like hunter-killers and Terminators, while the other players are part of the resistance fighting the machine uprising. The Terminator is played out on a board representing both the 1984 and 2029 timelines. 2029 pits players against Skynet in a tactical battle board. 1984 focuses on personal missions to complete for the characters. Cards have different abilities depending on what year they're played in, and decisions and actions in 1984 can impact the 2029 board. The Terminator game comes with a bunch of minis, and you can get a copy of the base game for $60. Tantrum House is seeking funding support for their Season 4. Tantrum House has a team of prolific reviewers who produce a wide variety of content, including Kickstarter previews, unboxing videos, and playthroughs. Tantrum House has arranged for some promo packs to be available from companies like Daily Magic Games, Stonemaier Games, and CGE. They also have some cool board game-related merchandise like shirts and decals that you can pick up as part of the campaign. You can support Tantrum House for any dollar amount, but promo packs are included starting at the $10 pledge level. And Steve Jackson is bringing some literary culture to the world of Munchkin with Munchkin Shakespeare. This is a new standalone set inspired by the Bard. Apparently fans were asking for this set, and a lot of the card ideas came from the fans themselves. Munchkin Shakespeare is sure to be chock full of iambic pentameter and puns. There are a ton of stretch goals that have already been unlocked that have upped the card count and opened up a series of add-ons for the game. You can get the base game for a pledge of $20 plus shipping, or for $35 plus shipping, you'll also get the sizable Kickstarter exclusive expansion. All right, that's all I've got for you this episode. I'll spare you the I'll be back joke, and I will just say I hope you have a wonderful week.
Hi guys. This week I experienced how street carnival starts here in Germany. I am baffled with the traditions they keep up with here in Düsseldorf. It all started at 11:11 on Fat Thursday, or as they call it here in Germany, Altweiber. It is the moment where all the women of the city go into the city center and cut off all ties of all men passing. They hit them with sticks or with vegetables, and afterwards they make up with a Bützchen, which is a kiss, I guess, to say sorry. And that is all just the start of the drinking game. Who gets drunk first and who stays conscious last? And the costumes help to have no repercussions afterwards. This week I'm playing a game that's all about pretending, where a good bluff can propel you to victory. This week I am playing Masquerade. In Masquerade, each player receives 6 coins and a character card with beautiful art by Jérémy Masson. Players swiftly look at all the cards and then flip them all over. You've got one in front of you and you might forget what it is. Well, one of the actions when it is your turn is look at your card and see if you still have the one you thought you had. Other action you could take is swap your card with someone else. You're not allowed to look at the new card you receive. And the last action you could choose on your turn is proclaim the action of one of the characters. You might say, I'm the king and I take the king's action. Now, you're fine, even if you don't have that card, if no one else says, no, I'm the king. Because if they do, then you both check who is the king. Maybe none of you, and you both get a penalty for that. Or one of you might be the king, in which case he would then do that action. The first player to 13 coins wins the game. It's a very nice party game. The box says it's good for up to 13 people. I like to play with half of them. So that's Masquerade with beautiful art by, again, Jérémy Masson. Thanks for watching. My name is Dave Luza. See you next week.
So what are we doing this week on the Dice Tower? Well, we're going to give not a full review, but first impressions of Gloomhaven and a bit of a look at the components of Gloomhaven. We'll be taking a look at the newest Time Stories adventure, Expedition Endurance. In fact, we'll be showing you a playthrough of Time Stories if you want to watch that and see how we made it through. I'll also be taking a look at Micro Robots, Unfair, Ethnos, Mintworks, Board Game Blender is going up this week. I'm also going to be continuing my Best of Publisher series by taking a look at the games from Matago, Ravensburger, Stronghold games. Also be doing my top 10 Dragon games. So there's a lot of different videos that are coming out this week. We hope that you stick around and watch those. Also, of course, our audio shows. The Dice Tower audio show is taking a 2-week hiatus because we're prepping for episode 500. But, you know, there's more to come. Also, we found a place for the Dice Tower headquarters. Not everything is signed and set in stone yet. But once that happens, we're going to be starting to make plans to move there. So there will be likely a week in the near future where we'll be shutting down production on the Dice Tower channel, letting us move there and hopefully put out better content for you. All right. Don't forget all the other podcasts on the Dice Tower Network, which you can find at dicetowernetwork.com.
Oh hey, Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise here. During a casual drive with a friend and fellow board gamer, the subject of games versus music came up, and how the performance of these two activities are both open to artistic interpretation. You see, it all started when my friend confessed that one thing that he finds fascinating about board games is how a game's rules can be performed by various players as differently as sheet music is by musicians. Wait, what? Now, to demonstrate his point, he pulled out his phone and loaded up the 90s grunge anthem, Smells Like Teen Spirit. But then, he proceeded to play the same song again, but performed by others, each interpreting it in their own way. And so we had... and also...
With the lights out,
even. Now, all of these performers were working from the same musical rule book, the same sheet music, but each musician's approach produced a completely different result. And so, he said, it is the same with the varied styles and strategies of gamers. Take a rules-driven strategy game, one designed to completely eliminate the luck factor, such as Food Chain Magnate. Now, even though the options available to the player are limited by the restrictions of the rule set, every player will still approach the game with their own unique signature style. Perhaps even to the point where one could say, oh hey, that's a Chaz strategy, or hey, that's a total Eddie maneuver. Well, by that time, we'd long run out of gas, and so there we sat, stranded, blocking the interstate off-ramp like a wall of automotive cholesterol, pondering whether board game rules still allow room for a unique individual style in their execution, as performance, as art. Now, I have to admit, it's an approach to gaming that I'd never considered before. But what about you? Do you think that a comparison can be made between someone playing a game and a musician performing a piece of music, as both things allowing stylistic expression? Let me know by expressing yourself in the comments below.
Hello everyone, it's
Lunchtime!
Today we're going to be talking about Hanamikoji. Hanamikoji is a game designed by Kota Nakayama with art by Meishuli Chan, published by Emperor S4. It plays 2 players in about 15 minutes and for ages 10 and up.
So Hanamikoji, 2-player game, which is awesome. Basically you have a set of geisha cards which we're going to lay out, and we have item cards. The goal of this game is to get the most majority or get 11 points by the end of the game. So when you lay out the cards, you're going to see that they're arranged in lowest to highest number, and that's that little number on the corner that you're going to see. And you'll also see some little victory tokens that are placed in the center of the cards. These are going to later gauge if we've won that card by placing items beside it. So everyone's going to start with 6 cards in their hand. You're going to have your action tokens, which you're going to use to, well, take your actions, and that's how we start the game. So when you take your turn, look at your cards, decide which action token you'd like to take, and you follow that action. Don't forget to draw a card. I continually did this and was, short cards. So if you have cards that are to, as a selection, people can choose from them, you're going to place them in accordance to the geisha cards that are on the table. And it's really good because the pictures, I found, matched the item cards. Once you've finished your round and you've done all of your actions, I think it's 4 each for each person, you're going to see who has the majority of item cards and move your victory tokens in that direction. So whoever has the most in the majority or 11 points is going to win. If not, well, you're going to play again because it can switch up again.
Artwork in this is very beautiful, very traditional, kind of consistent across the board. I just love the way it kind of looked, and the imagery was nice because you're trying to match the particular symbol on the cards to the type of geisha who is with that talent.
Right.
So it's quite nice.
I also really enjoyed the artwork in this game. It's a good short filler game for 2 players. The mechanics are very simple to pick up. For me, the art sold me on it, though.
Oh, the art is gorgeous. Loved it. And it just really catches your eye, and you'll see from the gameplay we're posting that it's amazing. So, 2-player, quick game, why not? You can play it a few times over lunch, actually. So,
Exactly.
I think that's it for now. So, get back to playing Hanamikoji. See you guys next time. Bye.
You are awesome, right? I mean, when you first get into the hobby, it's kind of like there is just a plethora of great, amazing games that are out there. And you feel like a babe in the woods. Probably some of you have felt that way. When you get in, you're like, maybe that's how some of you found the Dice Tower, because you were like, what do I do? And you stumble across our videos. And then for many of you, it's the rabbit hole, right? There's just so much that's there in this industry, so much going on. And what is this website called Board Game Geek and Dice Tower and podcasts and videocasts and top 10 lists and oh my. But as time goes by, you get better at it. You get better at learning about games. And I've talked about this before on very specific topics, but I want to talk a bit about more generally, is that this is something that we need to be self-aware of. that we are getting better. I don't mean it in some prideful way like, yeah, I'm awesome, not just the title of this video. But what I mean by that is I know a lot of games. I know how to play all these games. Well, hopefully. Some of you watch my live plays, you're like, we're not so sure. But I know how to play a lot of games. And so when I play a game and someone says, the cards are flipped this way and you'll be able to draw some in a replacement, like, oh, yeah, it's like Ticket to Ride. And this is a deck building game, know what that is. But not everyone's like that. And that's something that we have to be constantly conscious of. When you play a game, there's multiple ways for it to be conscious of this. First of all, the weight of the game. I've played so many games now, and there's some people at the table like, this is a light game. Like, have you guys forgotten what a light game is? A light game is apples to apples. Ticket to Ride is not a light game. Ticket to Ride is a medium weight game. And you're like, no, it's not a medium weight game. Yeah, it is. But see, you've gotten so much better at games that to you, it's nothing. You wouldn't put a 10-year-old behind a wheel of a tractor trailer, or even a car for that matter. But for most people, driving a car is second nature because you got used to it. And so a lot of people tend to forget what it's like to come into the hobby for the first time and be overwhelmed. When you get a rule book that's 6 pages, you're like, wow, what a short rule book. But for many people, that's 4 more pages or 5 more pages than most rule books should be. We have to remember so many times that, yeah, we've gotten much better at maybe things in a hobby, but not everyone else has. So when you sit there and go, oh, this is a deck building game. This is just like this. Have you played this? No. Have you played this? No. Sometimes it's better just to go in and explain everything from the ground floor up. And sometimes that also means that we shouldn't necessarily mock someone's wide-eyed wonderment when the first time they play a game like Splendor, or Ticket to Ride, or Carcassonne, and they're like, wow, and we're like, oh, isn't that cute? They're excited by this. Well, yeah, because you know what? You were also that excited when you first found out about this. And I think sometimes in this hobby, we have to be careful, and this includes me, we have to be careful that not everyone, this hobby is like growing by leaps and bounds. There are new people finding my videos. Maybe this is the first board game breakfast you have ever watched. Let me know in the comments. But if this is the first one you've ever watched, that's cool. And we hope that we're not like speaking over your head. We hope that when we talk about things, you're not like, well, what are they referring to? What is this? And that's why we've made board game terms explained, because it is easier to go CCG and LCG and FLGS. We talk about these terminologies and sometimes forget that not everyone knows what that is. Not everyone goes online and posts all their rankings and their plays at Board Game Geek. Not everyone reads rule books on the train ride home. So just keep that in mind. That's awesome that you are learning more about games. That's amazing that you are getting better at games as time goes by. But not everyone is kind of up there with you. And that is in no way to put them down. But in a way, it's just to remember and say, yes, I was once at that point. And maybe that person will never leave that point. Maybe that person never wants to play 18XX or Panzer Blitz or, Pandemic Legacy all the way through. And we have to realize that not everyone is interested in all these things. And maybe they can't grasp all these rules as quickly as we can. But that's okay, because they're learning too. And maybe someday we'll get them to be as awesome as we are. Except I'm not including myself in awesome. You guys are awesome, not me. So I don't know, just something to think about. Just constantly to think about when new people come to your gaming group, or when you talk to people online and how can you not know about this? It's really easy not to know about stuff because there's just so much stuff out there. And while we may think a game is easy or intuitive or quick or amazing or light, it's not necessarily going to be that way for everybody else. It's a brand new hobby, and I believe in 2017 it's going to grow more than it ever has before. And it will do that especially if we remember that other people are getting into the hobby, and while they're kind of noobs to some degree, we can teach them and help them learn and grow. And whether they want to be just content on the surface level, that's perfectly fine. Or they want to dive deep into it and learn about everything, all that's fine. Either way, we're having fun playing board games.
Hi everybody, welcome to Miniatures World. A new game came out last week from WizKids. It's called Assault of the Giants. Now, I was going to get the premium edition, but I do paint a little bit and I do enjoy it. But, sometimes you want to get something in to save some time. But I looked at the premium edition and I just felt that I didn't know if it was something that I wanted to spend the extra $60, $70. Was it good enough to play without it? Well, if you take a look at these miniatures, you'll see that they are very, very nice. And you can play them not painted. But I think the detail is good enough where you can paint them yourselves. And it's very, very easy. The color scheme wasn't too hard. And if you look at the premium edition, they kind of just did the basic colors. The same that you would get out of the big boxes. Now what they did is they took the molds from the original set and they brought it down so it would fit on the board. Now I've talked to Sam and he thinks this is a very, very good game. And I think so too. And I think it's something that we're all going to be taking a look at, and I'm going to show you how to paint. So if you guys have your copies, I think you'll enjoy it in the next coming weeks on Painting the Rob, as I'll show you how to paint the regular edition, which would be a lot of fun. So I hope you look forward to that. It'll be a lot of fun to spend some time with you guys like I always do and show you how easy it is to take and paint the regular edition and save yourself probably 50, 60 bucks. Well, that's it for this week on Miniature World. Until next time, I'm Rob Warren, and we'll see you soon.
All right, well, we're taking a look at another shelf full of games in my collection. What do we have here? Well, first of all, we have Action Princesses. This game is awful. I hate it. My kids like it, especially my younger kids, although I really feel like they're going to outgrow it in a year or two, so it'll probably be out then. But hey, lots of dice rolling fun. Adrenaline from CGE last year. This is a game I really like. A game that's basically a shoot 'em up area control Euro style game. What really fun. Underground, or On the Underground it's called. This is a game many people don't know about. It's about a subway system in Great Britain where you're taking one passenger, trying to get them to go from different stations. Highly recommend it. Dice Town, what a great game. Poker with dice, rolling dice, and it's like Yahtzee, but you're trying to get the best poker hand, and then you get to do different things depending on what you roll. Super fun game. For the Crown, really poor component quality, but I really like this game. It's a mix between a deck builder and chess. Yeah, that sounds weird, but it is a lot of fun. Very thinky too. This one here is Escape, Escape. This is a die rolling game similar to Can't Stop, where you roll dice and push your luck going around a track. Just lots of silly fun. Then over here, Ultimate Warriors. This is an amazingly cool game, very similar to King of Tokyo, where you have different monsters that are duking it out in a ring. Each of them you'll play cards and then use those cards to roll dice and see who stands at the end. Prodigals Club for me. This is a game where you're getting rid of all of your money, your friends, and your reputation. So I like the theme, but it's also a solid, good worker placement game. Carson City, one of my favorite worker placement games. This is the deluxe version from Quinted Games. Just a beautiful version, and lots of fun with a cowboy theme, growing a city, worker placement. Kids at Carcassonne. Really love this one here. This is a nice version of Carcassonne. All the tiles match in all directions, and you're trying to finish roads and things to get your workers back. Highly recommend it. And Junta Viva el Presidente. Junta itself is a very long, overblown game, but this game takes it, makes it smaller, makes it faster, makes it sillier with dice and all, and I just really enjoy the fun theme involved in that. So that's what's on the shelf this week.
Hey, this is Mike with Board Game Makeover. In this episode, I'm going to do something a little different. I know there's a lot of people out there who do their top 10, top 25, top 100 favorite board games. Well, I wanted to do something like that, kind of let you know what my favorite board games are, except I didn't want it to be normal, because I'm not normal. So, what I did was I'm going to show you some of my favorite games as explained by one of my favorite authors, Dr. Seuss. Now, like I said, this is just a few of them in absolutely no particular order. It's not 1 through 5 or 1 through 10 or however many I did. It's just the ones I really like. So here we go. Ticket to Ride. The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. Carcassonne. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. Room 25. You're on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the guy who will decide where to go. Robinson Crusoe. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Dead of Winter. Dead of Winter. It's a troublesome world. All the people who are in it are troubled with troubles almost every minute. You ought to be thankful, a whole heaping lot, for the places and people you're lucky you're not. Galaxy Trucker. Did I ever tell you how lucky you are? Just tell yourself, ducky, you're really quite lucky. Clank. Step with care and great tact, and remember that life's a great balancing act. Well, there you have it. One of my favorite philosophical authors of all time. I grew up with him, and I still read his books today. They are challenging, thought-provoking, and they give you a sense of direction in life. Dr. Seuss, one of my favorite authors. Thanks for watching the Board Game Makeover, and I will see you next time.
Hello, my name is Niels, Cyril's Brettspiele, and you are watching the Dice Tower Board Game Breakfast with the best and the worst and Mass Machine from QSF Games. My favorite part on Mass Machine is by far that you have the semi-corp style to puzzle this mass back into, and when you make this final creation here, the puzzle is done and everybody's happy. But now everybody has to count his own points, so there could be only one winner, but you have to work together. That's good, I like that. The part that I don't like is the mess that this artwork is creating. So if you have now to figure out which tile belongs into which position, so by switching them, you always have to look at the rulebook, at the back side of the rulebook, and figure out, whoa, where is it? So this creates downtime, and in my opinion, it's unnecessary downtime. It strips you off the fun. It pushes you into look into the rulebook or on the back side of the rulebook, and for what reason? I don't get that. That was my personal favorite on Mass Machine. See you next week here on the Board Game Breakfast. Yeah, that was Niels. Bye-bye.
Hello, my name's Dan, and this is Kevin, and we're here today...
I'm like Kevin!
This is Cora, and we're here today to talk to you about board games for children around 5 and under. And today, we're talking about this game. What is it, Cora?
Robot Turtles!
Robot Turtles. Robot Turtles is a programming game where the players have to guide a turtle, or a tortoise if you want to use the English language properly, around a series of obstacles in order to get to a gem. For all you 80s kids out there, it's a bit like Big Track the game. Oh man, I miss Big Track. In the game, the players, or turtle masters, play cards in order to direct their turtle to move forward, turn left, turn right, or to fire their laser. Then they move the turtle accordingly. Every player that reaches their gem wins. To be honest, there's very little actual gameplay for grown-ups to enjoy, other than the obvious pleasure of interacting with your kids and experiencing the enjoyment they take in it. So we've found that Cora playing it solo with me moving the turtle around for her and making appropriate sound effects is the best way to play. The game rules pretty much advise this anyway. So Cora, do you like Robot Turtles?
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
Actually I love it.
You love it, do you?
Yeah.
Why do you love it?
Because there's lasers!
Lasers! Yeah, lasers are cool. What else do you like about it?
Ice walls.
Ice balls?
Ice walls!
Ice walls, yes, the ice walls. Well, only because you can use the lasers on them. So, we give Robot Turtles 2 robotic thumbs up.
So last week I was talking about those games that make you say, "Shut up and take my money." And I was wondering what it was that connected those games, and I got nothing. I mean, normally if you're collecting sector tiles in Japan, I'm all over the game like a pigeon on cake, I guess. I hate pigeons. Yeah, they're alright. Which is why I didn't hesitate to buy the game Lanterns. I saw it and knew I had to get it. And you know what? I just hated it. I really did. I just didn't like it at all. And I really wanted to like it as well. I did. just rubbish. And there are other games I absolutely knew I was going to like Imperial Settlers, a little civilization game where you can play Japan. Yes! No! Hated it. Don't know why. I just didn't like it. And X-Nimt. You got 6 Nimt, you got 11 Nimt, but X-Nimt? That could be any amount of Nimt. Hated it. I just really didn't like it. You know, it's a dangerous game. Not X-Nimt. That's a tedious game. But buying games and not really knowing anything about them and just thinking, yeah, I'm going to love this. Sometimes that goes wrong. But you live and you learn, don't you? So I'd love to know what games you absolutely knew you were going to like and then just didn't. Those shut up and take my money games that were just awful. Let me know in the comments below. Goodbye!
That's it for another episode, folks. Thanks so much for watching Board Game Breakfast. I look forward to seeing you guys throughout this week. There will be maybe a live game or two this week, but don't count on too many live games because, first of all, this week, normally I play games with Melody, but this week Melody is turning 17. Hooray! So there's birthdays involved. Claire's birthday's this week too. We're getting ready to move Dice Tower headquarters. We have all that 24-hour footage that we want to put out, and we're getting ready for Gamma. So there's a lot of different things going on. If we can get some live plays out there, we will, but you'll just have to wait and see. Also, I did want to quickly address last week we had our top 10 party games, and for some reason my microphone did not work in that regard. We'd recorded that when Derek was out for the day, and we tested the microphones beforehand, and when it came time to put the footage together, we realized, hey, my microphone audio is off. Well, we didn't have the 2 hours to sit down and re-record all that because there is a lot of work re-recording it. Also, re-recording those top 10 lists often feels like a cheat because it'd be like, what's your number 8? I already know. So we lose that element of surprise. And so we had to sit there and go, okay, do we post it with substandard audio, not post it, or re-recording it? Well, re-recording it would make everything staged. Our top 10 lists are not staged. All those reactions are genuine, if they are overblown sometimes, but they're genuine. Not posting at all feels like we wasted the work, and we figured people would want to see the top 10 party games, so I decided to post it. And I know many listeners said our money is wasted. You guys are making amateur stupid mistakes. You're right. We make mistakes, and I apologize about that. But I would hope that you would look at the other 200 to 300 videos we put out last month and see that the audio on them was okay. And we will try not to make any such mistakes in the future. I apologize about that. It's my fault. I should have double-checked the audio myself. I didn't. I checked the levels. Everything seemed to be fine. And then when we checked it, it just wasn't good. So that will not happen again. I hope. I will make sure. We got some more top 10 lists coming, not this week, but next week and a couple weeks after that. So look forward to them. Anyway, thanks again for watching Board Game Breakfast. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and this has been The Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vassell and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff in stock at CoolStuffInc.com.